At the time of this recording, I have completely automated client acquisition for both of my coaching businesses. So that means literally from point A, from a stranger all the way to them becoming a paying client. Every single step is automated from them getting interested to them booking a call to them showing up to actually closing the call. I don't do any of it. Nothing. I don't lift a finger. I just see a Stripe notification come through. Someone paid in full and they signed up, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing, but it does take a lot of hard work. But in this video, I'm going to break down exactly can you get to this point where you have an automated client acquisition system actually working for you. Because I don't know about you, but the whole reason I'm in business, the whole reason I became a business owner, because I wanted freedom, right? That's the big reason a lot of us do what we do, is because we crave this freedom. And we end up working just so hard to get there. But you can't get there if you follow this video. All right, pay attention. We're going to strap. It's probably going to be like 5 minutes, but just pay attention for 5 minutes. You don't have 5 minutes, you can't really do this, and you're never going to make it. So let's do this. So first things first. The first thing you have to do here is you basically have to get your subsystems of client acquisition to KPI. All right, what does that mean? So basically, there's 5 subsystems to signing client. All right, these are the steps that a stranger has to take to become a paying client. All right, step 1 is attention, right, to get their attention in the first place. Step 2 is interest. Then step 3 is call booked. Step 4 is call showed. And then step 5 is client signed. All right, those are the 5 steps someone must take to go from stranger to whipping out their credit card and paying you money. Now, with that said, every subsystem, you basically need to get to the KPI. And KPI stands for key performance indicator. So it's basically a conversion rate that tells us, hey, this is an efficient system. It's working at the level we want it to be working. All right, so for example, with close rate, if your close rate was 10%, for example, something very low, this is not a KPI. It's not efficient. You literally need to hop on 10 live calls just to close one deal. Obviously, this can vary by industry, but for the online coaching space specifically, should be at least at 25, 30%, if not more. All right, so that's an example right there. So if you're personally closing at 10% right now, it is not wise to onboard a closer for you and just magically expect them to close at 25%, because you haven't even figured out yourself. So that's step 1, is get your subsystems to KPI. All right, so attention, interest, call book, calls showed, and client signed, all of those subsystems must get to KPI where you yourself are efficient at the system yourself. So you must know how to take a stranger and convert them into interest, convert them into call booked, and an efficient rate. And an efficient rate, how you figure out those numbers is really just what actually makes sense. What is actually hyper profitable for your business? All right. So typically, appointment booking rate, what you're looking at there is going to be around 2 to 3% plus. So that's if you're doing direct messages, reaching out to people, you want at least 2 to 3% of the people that you reach out to actually book a call with you. For show rates, converting how many people actually show up to your calls that you book, typically want this to be at least 70% plus. Can get this higher though, for sure. And then close rates, like I said, is 25, 30%. All right, so those are general KPIs for you to aim for there, but you want to be at those numbers. You want to be at those rates. That's big step number 1, is get efficient. All right, once you're efficient, step 2 is to document and systemize. All right, document and systemize. So what does that mean? So the goal here is to automate this and take all this off your plate, right? Now, you've been doing it efficiently, but you probably don't have you kind of do things weird. You probably aren't the most consistent with it, and you do different things each time. So it's time for you to actually document what you're doing and make a repeatable process. So for example, on sales calls, for example, make sure you start recording your calls, or you do this right now, start recording your calls. This way you can actually document your process. And you can hand this over to your closer. You want to hand them a vault of 10, 20 recorded sales calls that are won deals. And you just hand it over to them and hey, here's my exact process. Listen to all of these and do this exactly. You need to document your process. Same thing with appointment setting. Or you just document your process. That way, when it is time to outsource and automate this, you can just hand over exactly what's already been working, and so you can get to KPI as quickly as possible when you onboard someone. All right, so document your process. Step 3, once you've done this, is time to hire. All right, it's time to hire. So with hiring, it's just really crucial you do as many interviews as possible. Do way more than you think is necessary. For a closer, for example, I would do at least 10, 20 interviews with different people, because you just don't know what good looks like until you do more interviews. You just don't know. And so I've been through a lot of closers that didn't work out. And now I have one who's awesome, and I got him from obviously starting from ground zero to a 32% close rate within 60 days, which is quite good for my offer. It's above KPI for what we're aiming for. And so how I did that is by doing a lot of interviews and finding out what good actually looks like. All right, so when you interview 10, 20 people, you're starting to realize, oh, these 1, 2, maybe 3 people really stand out from everyone else. Like really stand out. It should be like clear as day. These people are just like vastly different from everyone else. And that's what you want. If everyone kind of is like kind of the same, there's no like one that really stands out, you have to do more interviews. You have to do more. All right, because most people you interview are just not going to be qualified. They're not going to be good enough. So you have to just do more volume. All right, it's like the same thing as doing outreach to sign clients, but it's like an internal thing to find employees for your business, is do more interviews, do more volume, and to actually sign someone on your team, just like it's a client. All right, so that's like the hiring process. And then training them and onboarding, like I said, you want to have a master folder you can just hand them, and it has all the standard operating procedures, has all the documents they need to get up to par like as soon as possible. And then you should be training them very closely. For most positions, you want to do like daily meetings for at least the first 1 or 2 weeks. If it's a closer, I would do daily meetings like forever, basically, forever, because that's one of the highest leverage things you can do is train your closer and get them better and better every single day. But that is a process. All right, so you have to get your system to KPI. Then you have to document. Then you have to hire, and you have to train. All right, that is the process. Step 1 probably takes the longest, because to do that, you're following the scientific method. All right, you're testing something. You're seeing if it works. You're seeing if it's up to KPI. If it's not, you have to iterate. And that's the process you follow time and time again until you're at KPI. So test, observe the metrics you're getting. If it's at KPI, boom, keep going. If it's not, you have to iterate. Follow that over and over and over again until you have efficient systems to sign clients. All right, so that is the game. It takes time, but it is so worth it. Now I have 2 businesses that have completely automated client acquisition systems, and it's exactly what I help people do as well. So if you are an online coach and you want me to just license out my lead gen sales systems to you, so you can really skip the experimenting phase and just like have systems that, like from day one, that already work, go ahead and click the link below. I can break down our amazing, like insane offer. Like we have a pretty insane offer. So click the link below if you're open to this to learn more. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.